Can you have compassion for somebody you don't know? Somebody you don't know what they look like, you don't know their age, you don't know their history, you don't know anything about them, their life experience. Can you still have compassion for them? If you imagine sitting in a group of people that you don't know, or other living beings that you don't know, if you imagine sitting with them, does that help you have compassion? If you think of them around you, so even if we don't know people, if we imagine being in a crowd of them, it humanizes them, even though it's just our imagination, imagining sitting in a nice place with all these people. So imagining them, even though they aren't there, helps us connect with these living beings, even if we don't know them. Because we do know something about them that's quite important, even though we don't know their own personal story. So when we generate bodhicitta, we want to have it towards, that includes each and every sentient being. Even though our mind is incapable, at least right now, of understanding what countless living beings even means. Yet still, through imagination, we can get some kind of idea. And that idea moves our heart, because we think that these living beings are just like us, wanting happiness and not suffering. So use your imagination to develop some idea of countless living beings who are not one amorphous blob, but are individuals, each with their own feelings, each with their own history, each with their own likes and dislikes. And just based on that, generate a feeling of compassion, and from that, the aspiration of bodhicitta, and then use that as the motivation for sharing the Dharma this morning. So does just imagining sitting in a big group of people who you don't know, does that help you connect at all with their being living beings? Yeah, in a way that not visualizing them doesn't help you connect. Yeah. Okay, so you're visualizing them, even though they aren't there, but it helps to change your own mind and open it to them. Okay, so then the first question here is, how does visualizing bodies, implements, and mantras absorbing into our body increase our wisdom? Okay, the thought arises that my time would be better spent studying or meditating on emptiness, not doing a visualization. Okay, it's a very understandable question, and many people ask that. Okay, now going back to what we just did with compassion, we see that visualization changed how we felt. Yeah, in the same way, doing the Manjushri visualization changes the state of our mind and how we feel. Okay, so going back just to what psychologists tell us, some people learn by seeing, some people learn by hearing, some people learn by doing. So there's many different ways to learn. Yeah, we may have one of those three ways that works best for us, but the more we can even broaden ourselves to learn in the other ways, the more we're going to learn and have access to understanding, rather than just saying, I'm only going to learn in this way. I'm never going to read a book. I'm only going to listen to tapes. Okay, something like that. Yeah. Some people too learn through words. Some people learn through symbols and images. Okay, some people have both. Yeah, I think all of us to some extent have both, but some people more words. If there's words, I understand. Other people, words, I don't know. Symbols, images, okay, now I'm getting it. And so there's different ways for people to learn. Yeah. And we may have one way that works best for us, but in terms of words and images, the more we can experiment with what isn't our favorite way, we may find something interesting there that can help us. Okay? So, how does visualizing bodies, implements, and mantras absorbing into our body increase our wisdom? Yeah. So if you're thinking, okay, there's a D. Oh, now I'm wise. There's a Manjushri body. Now wisdom's increasing. Now here's this. Now that. Yes, I feel more intelligent. I can understand emptiness better. That's not exactly it. Okay. When you study, and you're debating and thinking about the text using reasoning and so on, as His Holiness encourages us to, sometimes we need a break from that. Yeah. You get to a point in your thinking where you are just overwhelmed by words and the concepts that, sometimes like, oh, those concepts are so clear. And then a minute later, your mind is tired and the concepts are not so clear. Your understanding is not so clear. It's very helpful, I think, to have a practice where we balance different things. So sometimes reading, sometimes discussing with people, sometimes meditating in our meditation, sometimes going over the reasonings and so forth, or using imagination to understand things. Sometimes doing more devotional practices. Yeah. When our mind gets stuck, it's very helpful to do prostrations, to offer mandalas, to do visualizations. It uses a totally different part of our brain, and that enables the more intellectual part to relax in a different way. Okay? So also, this thing of the visualization and the mantra, why do we do them? Because this is the question, remember, that I brought up yesterday, how people in other Buddhist traditions say, you're just visualizing stuff and, what does it mean? It's just more conception and you're just saying mantra and it's just more chatter. You need to just be quiet in your mind, and that's the way. And then I explained how it's using two tendencies that we have. One, to visualize all the time, okay? And because we're always thinking about something, having some image in our mind. Okay, pizza. You got an image of pizza in your mind? Do you know what kind of pizza it is? Yeah, all I did, I said pizza. You have complete image, what kind of cheese it is, if it's thin-skinned, thick-skinned. No, I'm sorry. Thick-crusted or thin-crusted. It's the same kind of, isn't it? What kind of topping it has. You have a perfect image in your mind. Yeah. If I say, think of your mother, even your mother's been dead for years and years and years. Do you have an image of your mother in your mind? Yeah, we're visualizing all the time. So it's nothing new. Yeah. Visualizing the deity is something new. Yeah, because we usually visualize objects of attachment and objects of hatred that just encourage our afflictions. We visualize the deity and it makes us think of, oh, there's another way of being. Yeah, I know who I am, my ordinary self, and I have a very concrete image of my ordinary self. Okay? My ordinary appearance, my ordinary, personality, because I have a real personality in there. Very clear visualization of that. What you can do and what you can't do. I know I cannot fix things, so I don't even try. I call somebody else to help immediately. You know, we have those kind of ideas. Is that a useful idea? No, it probably would help me to learn how to fix things. Yeah, and I can tell you my whole story of middle school education about how I was deprived of shop and I had to learn home ec instead. And so now I don't know how to fix things and I'm traumatized by that. And, you know, I have trauma and now every time I see a light bulb go out, I get anxious because, you know, I need light, but I don't know what kind of light bulb it is and how to screw it in because some go this way and some go that way. And yeah, so I can tell you all of that. Yeah, I have a very concrete image of my ordinary self. Okay, now, and I suppose all of you do too, yeah, with your whole story about how you got there and how it's other people's faults and da-da-da. Okay, then, do you ever imagine yourself being a Buddha? Can you imagine yourself being a Buddha? What would it feel like, you know, we say when we visualize, to think of a Buddha's body made of light. Can you imagine your body made of light? Or are we so attached to this feeling of I'm sitting here, blood and guts, you know, and my body's filled with atoms and molecules from top to bottom, and there is no room for light in them. There is no room for small Manjushris or big Manjushris to absorb into my body because my body's already filled with a liver and a spleen and intestines. And even if I overcome them, there's so many Manjushri bodies falling in that in a minute, I'm again going to be full and nothing more can absorb. Okay, can you imagine having a hollow body? Having a body that's made of light that is not limited by being filled up with atoms and molecules and, you know, everything you ate for breakfast. I had a really big breakfast this morning. I can't visualize mantra letters absorbing into me now. My stomach's completely full. Yeah. Okay. So can we just even imagine having a body made of light? Can we imagine having a body that looks like Manjushri? Now, maybe you're a woman and you say, no, I cannot visualize being a man. Yeah, I have to visualize Tara. No way can I visualize being Manjushri. Yeah. And then the men, when they come to do Tara practice, I cannot visualize being Tara. Yeah. I can only visualize being Manjushri. And then the non-binary people, I don't quite know what happens. Yeah, I don't have that experience. They'll have to tell me when they go back and forth between different deities or how it is. Yeah, but everybody's, you know, my point is, can we imagine having a divine body? Yeah, that is not like our own body. That doesn't have to be the same gender. Okay, can we imagine having a mind that is not like our ordinary mind? Yeah, can we imagine having a mind that when somebody screams at us, we're completely okay, we don't get wigged out? Can you even imagine that? Yeah. Can you imagine, that toy dinosaur? What kind of, I don't know, some kind of dinosaur. Yeah, the one that's small that we showed you going, all of a sudden becoming big. Yeah, and you walked out of Chenrezig Hall and there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. his head's way up there, and your instant reaction is, ah! Can you even imagine being a Buddha and, oh, there's a sentient being who's trapped in that kind of body? Can you imagine having that be your automatic response? Some sentient being trapped in that body. Yeah, what does it say in the prayer? It's exactly like the prayer, isn't it? Yeah. A child wandering, caught in the prisons of samsara, confused in the darkness of their ignorance, overwhelmed by suffering. That's that Tyrannosaurus Rex, isn't it? Can you imagine, instead of first reaction being, I freak out, to like, oh, wow, look at the situation of this poor being. Yeah. How is it ever going to get a precious human life? Even if it gets a precious human life, yeah, with all those imprints of being a dinosaur, how is it going to overcome those and be able to encounter the teachings and hear the teachings? Okay? So what we're doing, yeah, in Tantra and in Sutra, when we use our imagination, is we are stretching ourselves, yeah? And it's like when we were little kids, you play dress up to imagine what you can become. Yeah? Do you remember playing dress up? Yeah? Sometimes in your mom's clothes, sometimes in your dad's clothes, sometimes you crawled around on the floor like your dog. Sometimes, remember? And you played sometimes being the cat, and we imagine being all sorts of things. We never imagined being a Buddha. Okay? In tantric practice, what we're doing is trying to imagine, what we can become. When we talk about Buddha nature, we're talking about some possibility, some potential to become something that's very different than what we are now. But we have the seed of that in us right now. Okay, so we can look at something with optimism, I can grow into that. So when you're imagining either being Manjushri, for those of you who have the permission to do that, or just imagining Manjushri in front and all the bodies of Manjushri absorbing into you, the mantra letters, the seed syllables, the implements. Yeah. What you're doing is imagining, having a mind like Manjushri's mind. And it talks about the different kinds of wisdom that each of those implements or bodies or whatever mantras symbolize. And you imagine having that kind of wisdom. Okay. And when you imagine it, you gain the confidence that you can actually do that. And that confidence, that ability to see ourselves as something we are not at the present, is an important key to growing into a new person. You cannot become a bodhisattva who hates themselves. No such thing exists. You cannot become a bodhisattva who has poor quality view. That's what Lama Yeshe used to call it. He looks at us, you people have so much poor quality view. You can't do this, you can't do that, this is wrong, that's wrong. And then he would say, you have universal, fantastic energy. Yeah. And you can't see it. So what he's, trying to get us to do is to imagine being something we aren't now, but something we have the ability and potential to become. And what we need is the confidence which gives rise to the joyous effort to learn the path and integrate the path with our being. Okay? So that's why doing these visualizations is very useful for our practice. Okay? Also, we may sit there and go, I don't understand these visualizations. Why does Manjushri's body represent this kind of wisdom? And why does the sword represent that kind of wisdom? I want to understand it. And until I understand it, I'm not going to do that visualization. Okay? Now, my question is, how many of you understand how electricity works? Some of you do. Okay, we have one person here who understands. Do the rest of us use electricity? Yes. Do you need to understand how it works in order to benefit from it? No. Okay. How many people here know how a septic system works? You know everything about a septic system? Between sandpits, septic systems and the ones where, that go in here and how they're dug and how far away they are and everything like that. Mm-hmm. You know a little bit about septic systems. You know they clog up. Yeah, that's not too hard. Now, how to fix them? She goes, call help. Yeah, that's exactly, I use the septic system. Do I understand how it works? Yes, I understand that some stuff goes down and it disappears. That's how it works. Yeah, but we use it without understanding it. Yeah. And it benefits us even though we don't understand everything about it. Okay? So we don't want to get trapped in a mind that says, I'm not going to do anything or nothing. I have to understand everything first before it, I will use it. Okay. How many of you can fix a car engine if it goes out? Uh-oh, nobody? Okay, yeah, we're on the phone again. Help! Can I bring my car in? Yeah. Do we drive cars even though we don't understand? Does it help us? Yes. Okay. So, sometimes we should loosen our mind a little bit and release it from this thing of I have to understand everything exactly before I do it. Okay. Now, you're going to say, but what about taking Clorox for my COVID? Shouldn't I understand that first? Yeah. Well, you don't need to understand all the biology and chemistry that happens when you drink Clorox. You don't need to understand that. Here's something where you can rely on authorities who know best. Okay, so you look for people who know about Clorox and you ask them, will it cure my COVID? And they say, yes, it will. You will be dead and you won't have COVID anymore. Yeah. So, okay, so we should rely on authorities who know more than us and not just be blind to things. But we don't have to understand everything before we can use it and benefit from it. Okay. We better hide the Clorox around here. Otherwise, somebody might experiment. Actually, we don't use Clorox because we have a septic system. And it ruins the septic system. Yeah, using that kind of stuff, you can't put it down a septic system. Uh-oh. That's why we also don't use liquid soap, because it's not good for septic systems. Using hard bars of soap is much better. Don't ask me why. I don't understand that. I'm just quoting an authority. Yeah. And I learned it when we saw the double feature of how your septic system works. And what was the other one that was playing with that? Yeah. Yeah, we had some very interesting double features. Yeah. Do you remember what the other one was? Was it barricade? Might have been barricade or something even before we learned barricade. Yeah. Something, I can't remember what it was, but yeah. Good old double features at the Abbey. Okay, next question. Is great compassion a primary main mind like bodhicitta? I think great compassion, one way to describe it is it's a mental factor. Yeah, it's the mental factor, the virtuous mental factor of non-harmfulness. So the words express non-harmfulness, but the meaning is compassion, yeah, wanting others to be free of dukkha. When that mental factor is together with a main mind and all the other mental factors that accompany that main mind, then, all those mental factors and that then primary consciousness all become virtue. Okay. How does the idea of the mind only having one object at a time work with having spontaneous bodhicitta? Could whoever asked this question explain it a little bit? Why? It seems like having spontaneous bodhicitta wouldn't fit in the idea of having only one object at a time.
So I was trying to I think it relates to the next question as well, in terms of if spontaneous bodhicitta is a mind that as soon as we see or think of another sentient being, we wish to attain awakening for their benefit. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, how is spontaneous bodhicitta working? That whenever I see a sentient, like if I'm not seeing a sentient being, if I'm just
a bucket.
If I'm seeing a bucket, then is spontaneous bodhicitta dormant or non-manifest in my mind?
What do you think?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, it's dormant or non-manifest.
Good.
Okay. And so I guess it's just like if we have spontaneous bodhicitta, as soon as I see another sentient being, that my mind only has that one that sentient being as its object. It can't have any other object.
That's the way it sounds like. You see a sentient being, and your first thought is bodhicitta. Afterwards, you may say, oh, that person has a broken leg. I'll take them to the hospital. Okay. But your first response, the first aspect of which you're apprehending that sentient being isn't I'm taking them to the hospital. It's I want to become a Buddha in order to benefit them. Yeah. Okay. Oh, then next one. Does this primary mind of bodhicitta only arise when you have the object of sentient beings? Oh, thermos. You broke your cap. Oh my goodness. We better take you to the ER ASAP. I better really practice well and attain enlightenment so that I can protect you from all suffering and lead you to awakening. Yeah. What do you think, Thermos? Okay. Okay, so I think I answered that question, okay? Yeah? Yeah, what do you think? Yeah, can you lead a Thermos to awakening? Why not? It has a body. Yeah? Aren't you your body? You're not your body? Who are you if you aren't your body? If you aren't your body, you don't know what bathroom to go into. And nowadays in America, that is really serious. Yeah. Yeah, it used to be so easy. Everybody just went into a bathroom and everybody was okay with it. Now it's like so difficult for people. I don't know. Okay. We're going to talk some more about mantra. Yes, to add a little humor. I don't know if this is humor or rolling your eyes to the bathroom debate. It was reported in Michigan, the fine state of Michigan, where Venerable Tarpa is right now, that somebody came to one of the school boards. I think it was even in the town where Venerable Tarpa lives, where her mother lives, and complained because she heard that now in the schools, they are making special restrooms for children who think they are animals. And so they're putting sandboxes in these special restrooms so that these children who identify as an animal have a place to go to the bathroom in the litter.
What if they're a bird?
I think they'll have to build another special bathroom for them. Or maybe the birds are on the top, and then the kids who think that they're birds, they go on the top, and then they pee and poo on the kids underneath who think they're cats and dogs. Yeah. And seriously, this was brought before a school board. Yeah. So, okay. So before we were, Lama was talking about the power we seek arises from the process of continual development. It doesn't come immediately, like when people attend the Lamrim course and think, unbelievable, the entire way I live my life, all my thoughts are self-centered. Now I want to help other sentient beings. I want to help. What can I do? I'm going to Africa. Get me a ticket. Okay. So he always used to point out our super enthusiastic wrong conception mind. Okay. It has a good intention, but, without any background, kind of going to Africa, you don't even know where in Africa you're going. Okay. So they rationalize like that, or maybe they go into society and emotionally tell others, you are all wrong. There's people in our society now who are saying to other people, you are all wrong. Yeah. And we're going to legislate our version of reality so that everybody has the right view. Okay, that's why I say to help other sentient beings is a process of gradual development and fulfilling one's own graduated path to Buddhahood. The path to Buddhahood is not the mere intellectual wish to help. Intellectually wanting to help can sometimes destroy rather than helping. You may want to help a child, but if you give him Manjushri's sword to play with, he may be happy, but he can also cut his own neck. Okay, so sometimes we think, oh, bodhisattva, being a bodhisattva, having love and compassion, I am chief people pleaser. I'm going to give everybody what they want. Immediately, all you have to do is tell me what you want, and to the best of my ability, I will give it to you. Yeah, so the child says, I want Manjushri's sword. Yeah, is it wise to give the child the sword? Yeah, is it wise? The child wants matches. You give them matches. So you know, it's not just the intellectual idea of I want to help. We have to combine it with wisdom. Parents do this. They want to help their children, but they give wrong things that kill the child's quality. I'm sorry if I criticize, but it is true. We all have to learn. This is the beauty of Lord Buddha's teachings. It does not matter how old or young you are, without limit, there is always knowledge you can learn. So what he's talking about with here is parents want to hear help their kids, but sometimes the advice they give their kids stifles the kids. Yeah. It causes fear and anxiety to arise in the kid. You are so afraid of your child getting hurt that you worry about them and you say, don't do this and don't do that and don't go here and don't go there. And that impedes the child from learning, even though your wish as a parent is that your child not encounter any danger. Okay? But it's a little bit too much being overprotective to that extent. Okay. In the West, it is common for people to say, now I am old. I have retired and have finished learning. I am now a decrepit nun at the Abbey. And I still think that I'm a prima donna. But now, because I have aches and pains, everybody really should have compassion and wait on me. Right? Yeah, come on, old nuns, old decrepit nuns. We got to stick up for our rights here. These young ones, they think we have to go to the forest and work and they can just sit and drink tea at their computer. Yeah. Look at us, we're dragging these bodies around up to the forest. And they're just sitting there. Okay. So I'm old, I'm retired, I have nothing to do with the sense world. Well, maybe some chocolate. The only thing I have to do now is to wait to die. Yeah? How many of you, in watching your parents or older relatives, sense that that's what's going on with them? Yeah? They're just waiting to die. They feel like, okay, I've lived my life. I have nothing more. Okay. Lama says, wow, 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 this is hell. From the Buddhist point of view, this is hell. Can you imagine living like this with nothing to do, and inside the mind is thinking, I have nothing to do with the world. I am just waiting to die. Waiting for 2 or 3 years with this miserable attitude makes it seem like you are waiting for 1 billion years. Time is in your mind. Unbelievable misery. Really, I am sympathetic for Western old people who are thinking, what can I do? I can do nothing. Our mind can get into that state, even when we're not old. Yeah, it's like, I have no relationship with this world. It's so screwed up. I can't become anything. I think, with some of these the mass shooters, I think might be this kind of idea in their mind, my life is worth nothing. I can't do anything. I can't connect with people. Yeah. Just a thought. Yeah. But a lot of suffering. When I go to America, I like America's people. Everybody is friendly and there is no insecure feeling. This was back in the 70s and 80s when he came, okay? They ask, how are you doing? Completely open, beautiful, until they pull out their guns. No, Lama didn't see that. That wasn't the case in the 70s and 80s. But when I see their homes for old people, I am sickened by their attitude. It is completely selfish and unrealistic. It is not natural at all. Who wants that kind of environment? Yeah, it is unfair. It is not right. Those old people have knowledge. They have some experience of life, and yet young people separate themselves from their parents. You are old. I don't like to see your visualization. Unbelievable. This is like the suffering of the samsaric God realms that we hear about in the Lamrim. Okay, the God realms where you have sense pleasure deluxe until you get old and then your friends shun you, your flowers wilt, your body fades, and you're left alone. Yeah. Okay. In Tibet, you live with your relatives, and it's still this way in many societies. In India and Nepal, by and large, people live with their older family members. Yeah. And what I found interesting is when I talk to some of my Tibetan friends now coming into exile, this idea of having an old folks home, this idea of, social services operated by the government, this is a new idea. Yeah, because in old Tibet, the families always took care of everybody in their own family. Yeah, they never thought of the government coming and giving them anything. But now in exile, they had to create boarding houses, or boarding schools for kids who lost their parents, or old people who lost their children. And so it's a whole different way of looking at society like that. Yeah. I think it's, I worked in a rehab, old folks home for a summer when I was in college. And, it in one way, it's very much like what Lama described, but it depends a lot on who works there, And if the people who work there see the elderly people or the infirm people as human beings who have lived a full life, who have a lot of knowledge, then you can really talk to them and learn a lot. Old people have lived through things that we haven't lived through, and we can ask them about their personal experiences and really learn something that you would never, ever, ever learn reading a book, okay, or watching a movie. You learn it from a real live person. So I think, personally, we should take advantage of older people and what we can learn from them. In Malaysia, one Buddhist center where I was, they have the temple. It's a temple, not a center. They have the temple. And next door, they have a really big building. On the bottom floor is like a kindergarten for all the little kids and pre-kindergarten kids. And then on the upper floor, there was the old folks' home. Or maybe it was reverse. I can't remember which one was on top. But anyway, the way they worked it was that the little kids would go into the old folks' home, or sometimes the old folks' home would go onto the floor with the little kids. And it was perfect. The little kids loved being around the old folks, you know? And the old folks loved having the little kids. So when you see that, and you see how people of different ages can help each other, then you really see that just not just putting people in old folks' homes, but putting people in kindergartens, stratifying society according to how old you are, so that you all through, like all our whole education system, you're always with people who are your same age. Okay? And things are always stratified by age. And I think that's really rather narrow, because we can learn a lot from the people who are older and the people who are younger. But then we develop this attitude that our age group is the only one who really has it. Yeah. And this is really detrimental, because all you have to do is wait 10 years and your age group is over the hill. And there's another, Gen, I don't know what you call them, a Gen M and a Gen Q and I don't know. So, it'd be nice if we actually had more mixing of ages, I think, in society, and being able to learn from each other. Okay. Helping other sentient beings is not an intellectual thing, okay? Don't think that now you should help sentient beings and put yourself into some situation that has nothing to do with inner fulfillment, okay? So this is the thing, I am a bodhisattva. I am going to sacrifice everything to benefit sentient beings, Lama says, otherwise you will meet trouble. That is why you need training. You need meditation to build up a balanced force energy of inner fulfillment. Yeah, because if you don't feel good about yourself, helping people is going to become another burden and whatever it is that you don't want to do. Okay. Then helping sentient beings will become, you need meditation to build up balanced force energy of inner fulfillment. Then helping sentient beings will come spontaneously. It is beyond the intellectual, idealistic. I want to help. Let me live alone. Yeah. I have had much experience of this attitude with my students. In a way, Western students are really beautiful. They are sensitive and have good communication with Buddha Dharma. But it takes time. That is why meditation is not something you do today and tomorrow you become enlightened. Oh, I thought it was like that. Yeah. How often did I hear Lama say this? And I was sure that staying in Nepal, finding a cave with all my other Dharma friends, because this is what all of us wanted to do, find our cave, stay in Nepal, become enlightened by next week. Okay, or maybe the week after. Yeah, we all wanted to do that. And how many times did we hear Lama say this? Okay. Yeah, so he says, but it takes time. That is why meditation is not something you do today and tomorrow you become enlightened. It is a continual process, like eating lunch every day. The yoga method is continually building up energy. Each time the controlled energy of divine speech develops, it removes the uncontrolled energy of speech. And by practicing continuously in this way, your speech becomes mantra. My speech? Yeah, my speech that loves to complain, that loves to pick faults. Yeah. My speech can become mantra. Yeah, but not by my ordinary speech. I have to change what I say and what I feel when I say it. Okay. But yeah, we can change our whole attitude and the kind of speech that manifests from that attitude. Mm-hmm. Actually, Lord Buddha's sutras are mantra. There is some force energy besides the words themselves. So your speech becomes mantra when you recite sutras. Okay. Now, I remember having a question, I read sutras and sometimes they don't make a whole lot of sense. They're talking about things that are like way, way, way beyond my imagination. And I just get confused thinking of billions of universes and the curl in the Buddha's forehead extending into infinite space and, all this kind of stuff. I just can't relate. Yeah. How do these visualizations, how does reciting mantra, how does it change anything like that? Okay. So how does reciting, even my commitments every day. Yeah. Yeah? Okay. I'm just on automatic. How does that change anything? Yeah. Maybe better I go work in the garden rather than just recite these things and it's all automatic. What am I getting out of it anyway? Why? Whoa, this is a good one. Why? Do I have to do pujas in Tibetan? I'm not Tibetan. Buddha wasn't Tibetan. Buddha didn't say things in Tibetan. Why can't we do pujas in English? No, you're very flexible, Geshe-la. You're very flexible. We had one Lama come here, and it was Lama Chopa Day, and you know how we do Lama Chopa. And we explained that to him, and he said, if it's not in Tibetan, I'm not going to come because I won't understand anything. And it never dawned on him that we don't understand anything when we say it all in Tibetan. Yeah, somehow it was, you say it and you're supposed to automatically understand, or it's a blessed language. But people swear in Tibetan, don't they? And they say mean, cruel things in Tibetan. And Buddha didn't speak Tibetan. If we want a sacred language, why not do it in Sanskrit? Okay. Anyway, I'm not going to answer those questions. But, the question of why should I recite a sutra? Especially, you get a request. Yeah. You need to recite, 5 million mantra or 5 million recitations of this sutra. Yeah. By such and such a date. Yeah. You get requests like that a lot. Some people do. Like, well, if I recite all those mantra, if I recite all those sutras, I can't study. I can't do my practice. I can't do anything else because there's such a, big thing to do by some date. Yeah. anyway, I'm just doing it as fast as I can, and it doesn't mean anything. Blah, 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 blah. Once I have heard, blah, 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 and everybody rejoiced. Once I have heard, blah, 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 and everybody rejoiced. You know, if nothing's going in, or you're reading it. Even you read it slowly. And, by the time you go through the list of the translation of all those bodhisattvas' names, because sometimes at the beginning of the sutras, there's a long list of those bodhisattva names, and you're going like, can't they just be called Jane and Tom and, familiar names, not names that are like 10 syllables. Yeah. We have all this kind of stuff come up, don't we? Yeah. Geshe-la, you are learning what really goes on in Western students' minds. Yeah. They don't tell their Tibetan teachers this.
They do not have to be impatient. Just practice and realize you become whatever Buddha is saying, Buddha is saying.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And when you can't say the mantra, then you get one of those little machines that says the mantra. In Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, you will find it used to be little the wooden fish, in the shape of a wooden fish. Now I think they can even have figures of Buddha or what. And it has a battery in it, and you can press the speed at which they're going to do Amitofo, and and which version, there's Namo Amitofo, oh, Namo Amitofo. It's really beautiful when you sing it slowly, and you're really mindful of your steps. Not when I sing it slowly, but when, everybody is quite beautiful. And then there's Amitofo, 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 Amitofo. And you can choose which way, that you want to recite it, fast or slow, with the Namo, without the Namo. You can, and you turn it on, and, they'll have a wake for somebody who died, and then they put the recorder there. And when the people aren't there playing mahjong, and even when the people are there playing mahjong, that's what you do when your relatives die. You have a wake, and the whole family comes and plays mahjong. Or they, they eat something. I don't know. What do you eat? Peanuts? Okay, yeah. And are peanuts associated with death? No. It's just...
As the kid, you went around cleaning the tables.
Okay. Yeah. So, so they play this next to the body that's lying in wake, and everybody's playing mahjong. The kids are running around screaming. How did I get off on that? Yeah. Okay. I'm getting to how we put the emphasis just on saying the words, even the machine, the recorder saying the words. And then we wonder why we don't feel anything from it, okay? So, or how it even helps. So, I had an interesting experience when we flew to Korea. So, I'm sitting there next to her, and everywhere I look, there's the screen, and everybody is watching a different movie, because now there are so many movies you can watch on board. Yeah. And everybody's watching a different movie. And all the movies have to do with sentient beings harming each other. because that's what you need to put in a movie to have an emotional reaction, and that's what keeps people hooked on watching the movie. Yeah. If it's a movie about people getting along, everybody says it's boring. You need some violence. Even in a love story movie, they have to fight sometimes.
Car chases.
Hmm?
Need car chases.
New what?
Car chases.
Car chases, yes. And Batman and, all this stuff, okay? Spider-Man, yeah, Mickey Mouse is old-fashioned. Superman is old-fashioned, yeah. But, Batman and Spider-Man are all based on them. Anyway, and so I was sitting through this 11.5-hour flight, almost 12 hours, with all this stuff going on. And, I would occasionally doze off. And then when I, open my eyes again, then there's all this stuff. So that does something to your mind. Yeah. So got off the flight. We left at 9 o'clock on Wednesday and arrived at 3 o'clock on Thursday. Yeah. And like, what day is it? What time is it? Where are we? Yeah. Feeling very discombobulated. Then, fortunately, got to go to sleep. I woke up the next morning, and when I sat to do my practices, it was like, oh, wow. Even though I was reciting them just as fast as before, it was like, oh, I'm so glad to be in this environment. I'm so glad to be putting this in my mind. And then it really hit me. Oh, that's why even just reciting the sutras or reciting the mantra or whatever has a positive effect on the mind. Yeah. My daily recitations, I can't say I understand everything. Yeah. Tompan nidu gyur. What? I don't understand. I can tell you the translation. I don't understand what it means. Yeah. Similar. Om Sabo Shudo Sarva Dharma Sabo Shudo Hung. Yeah. I'll tell you the translation. I don't know what it means. But it was like, oh, now I understand why saying mantra, reciting texts, even you don't understand them completely, has a positive effect on the mind. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I find often that there will be questions that I've had for years and years and years and have not been able to find an answer to. And then some small thing in my life will happen and, oh, now I understand. It's very interesting. Yeah. So if you're wondering, why are we saying mantra? Why are we saying it so fast? Why are we saying the same thing again and again? Why are we reciting scriptures and sutras? It just sounds like blah, blah, blah. There is some change that happens in the mind. Okay. But Lama also used to pose the question to us, and he does it later here. Okay. But one way he posed the question to us, he would say, how does visualizing yourself as Manjushri differ from visualizing yourself as Mickey Mouse? Yeah. In other words, how does saying Omra Patsandi, Omra Patsandi, Omra Patsandi differ from Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse? Or Namo Mickey Mouse, Namo Mickey Mouse. Or Oh Mickey Mouse, Hong Pei So. Oh Mickey Mouse, pay. Oh. Yeah. How does it differ? Why not? Why don't we go around saying that? You're just saying the same thing again and again. And then he says there's different vibration to the two things. How is imagining yourself as Mickey Mouse going to help you develop good qualities? Whereas imagining yourself as Manjushri has some effect. Or even front generation, how does thinking, I'm sitting in the presence of Mickey Mouse, just like when you go to Disneyland as a kid. I'm in the presence of Mickey Mouse. My dream forever. I watched you on TV, and now, Mickey, I see you in person. Please bless me. You're a little kid. Mickey Mouse is your hero. And you go around chanting, Mickey's mantra, MICKEYMOUSE, Mickey Mouse. We all know it. Yeah. Even the young ones know it, huh? You guys know it. See, Mickey Mouse, like his mantra, just as prevalent as Om Mani Padme Hum, but it has a different effect in the mind. Yeah. The sounds are different. What it makes us think of is different. The energy it brings up in our body just by the melody is different. Yeah. When you're driving and you come to a red light and the car next to you is playing rap music or hard metal, can you feel that in your body? Yeah. Can you feel the vibration of what they're doing? Is it a good vibration that is uplifting and expansive and makes you have love and compassion? It's not, is it? Okay. So sometimes just by looking at, the ordinary things and how they affect us, then we can get some kind of feeling how relating to holy objects and such can affect us. Yeah. But we should not have the mind of all I need to do is be around holy objects and they're going to bless me and I don't need to study. I don't need to learn. I just need to turn my prayer wheel all the time and say Om Mani Padme Hum all the time. And, make holy objects all the time, forget study, forget everything else. Yeah. So we shouldn't go to one extreme rather than the other. We need a practice, I think, that has many different elements in it to balance our mind. Okay. Actually, Lord Buddha's sutras are mantra. There is some force energy besides the words themselves. So your speech becomes mantra. Mantra is more powerful than nuclear energy. The power of matter, the power of mantra, and the power of the consciousness are the three powerful energies of the universe. Nuclear power is limited physical energy. Mantra speech is more powerful, and consciousness is the most powerful. That is why students give their body, speech, and mind to buy mantra. The Lama says, wow, too much, isn't it? Mantra becomes business. I'm joking, but really, mantra is incredibly powerful. Okay. So, Westerners hear, oh, mantra is powerful. Yeah, let me go get some. I want some. Where can I buy it? Is it on Amazon? Okay. So it is an incredible experience to recite mantra. The power is almost like magic. You can experience powers of mental telepathy and, kind of have intuitions of different things, that different things are possible. Okay. So normally you do not know how your friend's mind works. But when you are doing retreat, you can see how other people's minds work. It's true, isn't it? Yeah. You do group retreat with people. You don't say anything to each other. You learn a lot about each other, although you don't speak one word. Yeah. And there develops a closeness, a bond that isn't there with other people, just by the force of sitting in that room, reciting the sadhana and doing the mantra. It's true, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. So, and you learn how other people's minds work when you're in retreat. You can see, you learn to read, if you're sensitive, you learn to read body language. Yeah, you learn to read facial expressions, and you can understand what's going on in people's minds. Yeah. When somebody's doing this to their eye because they have something in it, you understand what's going on in their minds. Get this thing out. It's not coming out. Okay. The experience of the power of mantra is incredible. You cannot describe it. It is an unlimited experience. Sometimes people say mantra is just something made up, and it is no different to reciting bathroom, 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 or toilet, toilet, toilet. So, yeah, some people say that. I mean, I've been in a lot of retreats, and usually they say Mickey Mouse instead. But yeah, when you want a bathroom bad, your mind is going bathroom, 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 isn't it? Yeah. Okay. But that's completely a wrong conception. That shows no experience of mantra. The power of mantra is beyond the words. There is incredible force, energy, potential contained in mantra. Yeah. We may not have any clue of that, but I trust Lama's experience. He recited a lot of mantra. My teacher's experience, they talk about, how to do certain sadhanas, and I don't understand it, but I trust their experience. And sometimes you get a little glimpse. Kyabje Ling Rinpoche, one day after he gave the Amantaka ordination, and he was giving the teaching on the practice. And there's one section in it where you describe what the mandala looks like. It's quite a long section. And Kyabje Rinpoche is sitting there, and it's like, okay, here's this wall, and it's this color, and this wall is this color, and the measurements are this, and in the center is this, and in the sides are that, and then here are all the double vadras, forming the canopy. And he's describing the whole thing as if I were sitting in this room saying, and there's a plant, and there's a picture of His Holiness, and here's a thermos, and there's Geshe-la, and there's Venerable Lamsa. Just, you got the feeling like he was just describing what he was seeing right there. Yeah? And then you say, oh, okay, maybe there's something to do. Something happens when you visualize. Maybe, something that I haven't experienced yet is possible because, he's talking about it just like it was so natural, Yeah, there's Venerable Sepel, and there's Joe, and there's Lenny, and, and you're typing, and da-da-da. Just like that. When I was in Wisconsin recently, I attended a lecture given by Dr. Rahula. I'm sure some people know this doctor. He is very knowledgeable and a little bit famous in America. He came to Wisconsin to give a lecture on meditation, and he put down mantra as being something da, 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 da. It was very interesting. In a way, I completely agreed with the talk he gave on meditation. He had a beautiful way of presenting. But when he came to mantra, he unified that with Coca-Cola. Da, 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 drink Coke, da, da, drink Coca-Cola, something like that. Inside, Lama says, inside I laughed. I did not want to speak out and say, mantra is fantastic. What are you talking about? That was not my business at that time, so I remained quiet. I was not shocked. I was aware of the experience. This is not only his point of view. Sometimes our students say, now, Lama, I'm not going to do any more mantra. I don't feel that it is helping. Reciting mantra is not the words. Lama did not tell you mantra is only words. Lama tells you that under certain conditions, you do recitation and that becomes mantra. He did not say the words themselves were mantra. When you get into highest, the completion stage of Tantra, mantra relates a lot to the winds and the drops and subtle things in the body. Yeah. So something else is going on there that it would help us to be aware of. Okay, so we'll stop here.